Like I say, I would actually get lonely sometimes. Because well, I had worked so closely with so many people for so long, and I even had, I'd love it when my teams, like when my lumber team or lumber company would come in contact with my mining company. It'd be great because like they would all be partying. I'd be like, all right, take the day off. I'd give them like a week off just because, you know, it's no big deal really, in the grand scheme of things. So they would relax and talk about swap stories and stuff. And so that happened at a couple different times when I'd have a lumber company, a lumber team, taking down some trees, near a mine or something. So because sometimes I would usually have the mine surfaces cleared so they could build buildings on the slope that would be stable, that wouldn't landslides. Because I had a couple mines and landslides became a problem. So I started this procedure of just having all the earth stripped off to where it was rock, so they could build on a nice, good foundation. Because whenever there's dirt on the hillside, usually there'd be a landslide or it'd get wet or something bad would happen. So I just started telling them just strip the dirt off. So every time they built a mine, they would go in and they would just take all the dirt off and take it back to rock, and then they would have a nice stable foundation to build on, and then they wouldn't get washed away or anything else like that. Because I had a couple mines that actually went down the mountainside, the whole mountainside, because of the fact that they were on soft dirt. Plus, if you're going to build a shaft, you can't really. It doesn't really work if there's dirt there. It's always a problem. So I just started saying just clear it all off. So they'd come in with big machines and just because I had big steam machines, big huge buckets, and they would and then it would be stripped, and then they would just build the mine. And usually I actually had a setup team for mines and stuff like that. Like I'd have a setup team, and then I'd have a mining team, and then I would bring in, and then the specialists would come in after about a month of mining. The specialists would come in and write and make notes and see what improvements could be made to the mining equipment and that kind of thing. Anyway, though, it's kind of cute. Around year 1000 or so, um, I wanted to go do something, and I think this might actually be more like the present day team, actually, because I wanted to go do something. And they're like, "Why does he want to do that?" And a girl said, "He gets lonely." It's like, yeah, I got lonely. I'd get lonely. It's like I was massively wealthy, like world-renowned master inventor or financer of TNT, financer of blasting caps. If you go back in my history, you'll find that I owned the blasting cap company that made all blasting caps, basically, and I really owned them. I owned the assayer's office or the the people who told the miners how much mineral content the dirt had, and I was a part of that. Getting that research and finding out exactly how much metal was inside of every ore sample, and the sampling itself. I was all a part of that as well. So, that was me basically. Those were my people. That's my company. That became the American government. Um, anyway, and became the government in other countries as well because because we were building the trains and the rails, so we needed metal. So anyway, and using and blah blah blah. It's a routine that I set up and did basically in every country. But basically, though, I mean, I was hugely wealthy. I mean, world renowned, cross countries, all over the world. India, America, England, France, Scotland, Russia. I built the train across Russia. I built the train across India, built the train across America. I was really big with roads and rail systems. It was me, and mines. I did a lot of the mining technology stuff, and I had a really good team for creating mining materials. In fact, at one mine location, I had a machine shop, a smeltery, a blacksmith shop, and foundry and everything, and metallurgy and everything you could ever need, and also samples with other minerals, so you could customize. So if their mineral rock wasn't there, they brought samples of other minerals up there. So when they're pouring metal or whatever they needed to do, they could do. So all different kinds of minerals were available at this one site, so they could fine tune the mining equipment and get it just right and get the metallurgy just right, so it wouldn't break what's called, and I think that's how the carbide tips actually came about. Anyway, so because I had everybody there and all the different kind of rock samples. I was like I want every type of mineral available at this site, and that's what they did. They went around and found every rock. So a couple shops had every type of a mineral that you could ever want to make up the exact metallurgy of the items that they were going to be making to be doing the mining. So, and that's kind of how I got so far so fast, because I was like, all right, this is the way we're going to set it up. And then so the people were just like, perfect. It was like, and they would be mining away. And then they fine-tuned the metallurgy of every product. And I think that's how the carbide tips came about, because they just kept playing around with it until they got it just right where it didn't wear, and it was just right. Fairly quickly, really. Once I got all different kinds of mineral samples at that one site, they were able to play around with it, with the percentages, and within a year, they basically had carbide and all kinds of stuff. They're like, okay, we got it, because they just kept playing around with the metallurgy until they had it just right. Smelting it, pouring it out, and then I don't know that much about metallurgy, but they did. So they quickly, within 6 months, had carbide tips and all kinds of stuff. It was actually one of the most the best things, and I paid a lot for it. I was like, all right, here's $100. This is what we're gonna do, and so the money was printed and given, and they hired and paid whoever they needed to get it going, and it happened just like that. Anyway, I do use a different technique in every country. Like in India, I use one way. In America, I use another way. Basically, all following along the same kind of lines, basically. Just relative time periods and relative technologies. But very quickly, we got educated. And once I had done one thing, I would call in specialists from another country to come in and help me out in my new country. So very quickly, everything was brought up to basically an even level. Pretty much even across the board. So anyway, where was I? I don't know. Anyway, so I was saying I get lonely. So later on, so I did all that, and basically very rich, created America, created all the rail systems, created schooling, and so basically I'm this mega mammoth. I was already a really amazing inventor for years, created a lot of steam engines, and then I just took that and became mega amazing, huge. And so I'm mega amazing, huge, and I don't really have to do anything, but it's like I got lonely. I actually loved being around my people. I loved doing the projects. I loved it. Going to new places and building towns or building cities or building a new ship. I loved it, and so afterwards, it was kind of like a letdown because, I mean, it was so wonderful, and just working with all the people was so great, and so I just kind of got lonely sometimes. So I did a couple other projects afterwards I didn't really have to do, and I just did because I was kind of lonely. I just missed my people, I like to feel close to my people, and we were really close when we were doing the rocket experiments and doing all kinds of other things. It was me and my people really close, and working with all the researchers and everyone. So. Anyway, so it was kind of cute. One of my people was like, he gets lonely. Like, yeah, well, hey, I don't know. I mean, I got rich pretty quick. Realistically, I was very fast and very efficient, and pretty darn good inventor myself. And then once I got a little bit of a foothold, I just very quickly, I was able to apply more than enough effort into a lot of things, and so it really didn't take that long for us to get pretty much modern day. I think maybe China was the longest one to take time, but I had been working with them I think the longest, and I kind of kept them away from certain things because I was really scared. I had a lot of problems with America and guns. A lot of people were getting killed because of stupid guns, and I didn't want that for China, so I kind of kept them from having weapons. I was like, no, you guys don't need weapons or guns, not until later on, because it had been causing problems in other countries, and I was like, no, you guys really don't need that. So that might be my fault that I kept them away from the weapons, because I was worried about my people, and I really loved China. I mean, the Orientals, I really, I mean, they were so wonderful, and they were so dear to me that, I really wanted to try and keep them from from experiencing some things where other countries have had problems with it, and I thought maybe I could keep that from happening to them. So anyway,